Hello, my name is Paul Lima. I am an MS warrior. The MS stands for multiple sclerosis, a disease I can barely pronounce. I don't know why we call ourselves warriors. I guess because we fight our MS every day. But I think anybody who is ill or has a disease is a warrior because they are fighting it. What other choice do you have? Yes, you can lie down and give up, and that happens on occasion when an illness or disease gets so bad there is nothing you can do. I can talk to you. I can pick up my trusty cane and I can walk the dog. I can't do much else. MS is a bizarre disease. We call it the snowflake disease because everybody who has it has different symptoms. There may be some similarities, certainly in the cause. The myelin in our brain, in our spine, our central nervous system is deteriorating in places, and that causes the symptoms. For some people, it's cognitive. I'm fortunate. My brain is still working. For some people, they get strange, bizarre tingles all over their body. I had them early on. Symptoms come and they go. Some people get pains in different places. A lot of people have pains in their jaw. They go and they get dental work and they still have pains in their jaw. It's because of the MS, not that there was anything wrong with their teeth or their jaw. So it's a strange disease. There are people with MS who are in wheelchairs or in scooters. Some people are bedridden. And some people can weightlift and ride their bikes. God, I used to ride my bike all the time. I have not ridden my bike in probably 25 years. I was 41 last time I rode my bike. I'm now 66. So I've had MS for 22 years. Initially, symptoms would come and they would go. So I was able to work, except when I had fatigue and would pass out. I was a trainer. I was very fortunate. I never passed out during any training sessions. But there were times when I was training, during the coffee break and lunch break, I would just simply sit in my chair with my eyes closed, sort of fighting the fatigue, which I had, another symptom of MS. Unfortunately, I also have a new daily persistent headache. My neurologist says it may or may not be connected to my MS. It doesn't really matter because there's no cure for MS and there's no cure for new daily persistent headache. So I've got these two things. I'm sort of indicating that they're clashing. They're clashing within me. They're working together to slow me down. And trust me, they have slowed me down. I mean, I'm 66, so in theory I should be retired, but I wasn't planning on retiring until 75 or 80. Naive me. And I know some people, they don't live to be 66. There are people with worse illnesses that kill them and that make it so they couldn't even be talking to you right now. So I'm looking at the good while feeling the bad. You know, I don't have cognitive issues, which many people with MS has. Of course, my wife Lynn might disagree with me, but that's subjective. You know, I am able to write. Since having my MS, I've written 25 books. You go to paullima.com/books. You can read about them. I was a writing trainer, so most of my books deal with various aspects of writing. But in the last 6 years, since the new daily persistent headache has come on, and my MS symptoms no longer go away, they used to come and go, And when they went, and they would be gone for weeks, months, even a couple of years early on, I could work no problem. But now what I have are weakening legs, strange pains in different places, and the headache. So I need the cane to walk the dog, and often I sit down 2-3 times before we get to the dog park. It's about a 30-minute walk there. If I didn't have MS, it would be like maybe a 15-minute walk. There's also a dog park in High Park. I live in Toronto. High Park, not far from where I live. Used to take the dog there. Can't do that anymore because it involves walking uphill, and I can't do that. So I walked to another dog park in Saroran Park. Straight sidewalk roads, no uphill, and I'm able to get there. I can sit while the dog plays, does his thing, talks to his buddies, and then we walk home. So I get 30 minutes, and sometimes I take a longer route home, or 75 minutes, 30 minutes there, 45 minutes home. So I do walk with my cane. But sitting around the house, sadly, I don't do much of anything. Used to be my wife would walk the dog in the morning, I'd walk him in the afternoon. Now all the domestic chores are falling on her shoulders. So I walk the dog twice a day because it's what I can do. And I guess that's what I want to say to people who are sick. You really have no choice but to do what you can do. I mean, yeah, sometimes you can fight it, sometimes you can push through. My wife will ask me to take the compost out, and we live on the second floor, so it means going down the stairs, up the driveway to the bin, putting the compost in, coming back the driveway and back up the stairs to the second floor on which we live. And I may be sitting on the couch and my body says, you really don't want to do that. But I can do it. Take a deep breath and do it. And hey, I know that there are some people who have illnesses and diseases who literally can't do anything. At the same time, I know there's some people with MS who are in wheelchairs or scooters, and they can go circles around me. They have a good attitude, they're happy, they're jovial, they're funny, they're adapting to what their illness has thrown at them. In fact, if my new daily persistent headache would go away, which it won't, there's no cure for MS, no cure for new daily persistent headache, but if it would go away, I would be in fairly decent shape for a 66-year-old man. I mean, I'd still walk with the cane. That's due to my MS, balance issues, But I would feel pretty good, and I would be able to do more stuff. I don't know. What do people do? I forget. I've had this headache for 6.5 years. And I said I don't have any cognitive difficulties, but when I look back on the last 6.5 years of my life, I know I did some work, and we've gone through the pandemic. What's that been, 2 years? I've done some online training, but right now I have one client. I'm copy editing her book, and I'm going to help her self-publish it, and I have one client that I'm going to do some online training for. Now, if you think, oh, there's Paul trying to sell us his editing services or his training services, I'm not. The client that I'm editing the book for, she's my last editing client. I am not writing for any clients, and I have one online training session coming up, and when that's over, that's it. It just takes so much out of me. So I want to preserve the energy I have to do my own thing. And in the last 6 years, while dealing with this headache, I've written a book, my memoir, and then I wrote a book on how to write memoirs. I've written 2 novels, Jerry, which is a kind of LGBTQ plus spoof of Seinfeld. Four friends from the LGBTQ plus community are living together, kind of like each one parallels one of the main characters in Seinfeld, and they're going through life in their own way as best they can, adapting to who they are and what they want to do within the LGBTQ community. Jerry is a comedy. I've been told it's a very funny book. As a writer, I'm biased. I think it's funny, but I've been told by people who've read it, it's laugh out loud funny. Chronic is dealing with four people who live together, and I think we've got themes here. Four people living together, each suffering from a chronic illness or disease. The main character, whose name happens to be Paul, has MS. Gee, he was a writer-trainer, and he still writes a bit, but no longer trains, except one of the characters who's in a wheelchair. Paul's trying to encourage him to enter wheelchair races or join the wheelchair basketball team. And he says, I'll do that if you conduct a training session. And Paul has been invited to do a training session and is about to turn it down, but because he was a motivational speaker, he wants to motivate the other character to race or play wheelchair basketball. So he accepts the bargain. And the story builds from there. Two other characters, one has cancer, is in remission, and one has Parkinson's disease. And I know people who are in wheelchairs who have Parkinson's disease who have or have had cancer. So chronic is closer to my heart, closer to me. Jerry have a non-binary daughter and LGBTQ sister and brother. So Jerry is close to me at a distance, if I can put it that way. But the book I'm working on now, Family Tree, is an historical fiction. And I don't enter Family Tree at all, nor do my siblings or her child enter Family Tree. And I think I called my child a daughter a moment ago. They are non-binary. So you have to get used to the change in language. They are a they, not a he, not a she. Anyway, sorry about that, Kaya. That's their name, Kaya. Non-binary. So I think I'm sort of rambling, but there's not much I can do. And the last two jobs I have, the editing job and the training job, will be my last two jobs. So I can devote what energy I have to my writing and to reading books, watching TV, and walking the dog. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. That's my life. I walk the dog in the morning, I have breakfast, I do a little bit of editing, soon to be replaced by more writing of Family Tree. I usually then have a nap, walk the dog in the afternoon, get home. Lynn, my wife, has made dinner, we eat, and I don't have the energy to write. So sit on the couch, maybe read, maybe watch some TV, and go to bed. And that's my life every day. It never changes. You know, people ask me, how are you coping with the pandemic? And I say, it really hasn't done anything to me. I mean, we haven't had friends over for dinner, although we're starting as the pandemic seems to be waning, although we may be in for a third wave or fourth wave, I don't know, I've lost count. So the pandemic really hasn't changed my life. Kaya's life, they were a stand-up comedian, they did improv, no audiences, no getting on stage and doing that. They are also a writer, and they are writing for some TV shows, because filmmaking and shooting TV shows seems to be coming back. My wife, Lynn, would have people over for dinner. We're starting to do that a little bit. She would go out to book club, belongs to book clubs. Book club has been online via Zoom for the last year and a half. But when you're retired, a pandemic is just like being really retired. When you're retired and you have MS and a new daily persistent headache, and you're in the midst of a pandemic, there's not a heck of a lot you can do. And I suppose if there's a theme to this talk, it's think about what you can do and find a way to do it as best you can, as much you can. And I walk the dog, I take my mask with me. When I get to the dog park, I put it on because there are other people there. So I use the mask and I use my cane and I walk my dog. I write Family Tree. It's on pause right now because I am editing my last book. The last book I'm editing for somebody else. I'm good for maybe an hour, hour and a half. And then I have to stop. The head, although I don't have brain fog, the head gets foggy, I get tired. So I am doing the best I can do with my disease, with my illness, with my symptoms. And that's what I would say to you, ladies and gentlemen. If you're sick, if you have a disease, find out what you can do. And God, I know some of you, and you're bedridden. There's not much you can do. You have my sympathy. I don't know. I mean, I know people in wheelchairs and scooters, and they have great attitude. They're smiling, they're laughing, they're joking. Psychologically, I think if I was in a wheelchair, I'd have great difficulty being that way. We live in a 3-story house. First floor is rented out. I'm on the second floor. The steps to the third floor are steeper than the steps to the second floor. So I can get up to the second floor. I can no longer get up to the third floor where the bedroom is. So I sleep in my office. I've got a reclining chair and I have to learn how to sleep on that because I can't get up to the bed. The steps are too steep. So I'm stuck. I can get up to the second floor and down to the basement, a few steps down to feed the dog. What happens when I can't get down to the basement, can't get up to the second floor? As depressing as that thought is, this is the first time I've thought of it. I don't go through life thinking about what happens when things get worse. I go through life thinking about how am I now? What can I do now? And it may just be me, but that's the attitude I think anybody who is sick has to have. How is my life now? What can I do now? How do I do it? Do it. I sound like a Nike commercial. Do it. But that slogan has resonated with so many people, even though I don't own Nikes, because that's all we have left in life. What can we do? How do we do it? Once we figure that out, we do it. I have two options. I can accept the limitations, or I can get really freaking angry and not accept them. But guess what? I can't overcome them. There's no cure for MS. There's no cure for new daily persistent headache. Anybody who tells you otherwise is blowing smoke. Yeah, there are some small things you can do that may prevent you from getting much worse, but there's really nothing you can do that is going to cure your MS or your daily persistent headache. And hey, if you think I'm wrong or think I'm right, feel free to send me an email, Paul, MS Lima, Lima, Paul MS Lima @gmail.com. That's something else I can do, read and reply to email. So I'd be happy to hear from you. Take care. If you have MS, I hope it's as mild as possible. I hope you are dealing with it as well as possible. If you have a new daily persistent headache on a scale of 1 to 10, I hope it's not like mine was, 18 to 20 early on, like mine is very often, 6, 7, 8, like mine is right now, about a 5. I hope yours is like a 2 or 3, and I know it can be worse, and it's a pain in the butt when it's worse. So I guess what I'm saying is, I hope you're as well as you can be, no matter your circumstances. Thanks for listening. Do take care. Bye now.